All right, so look, if you've been a hater of my content in the recent, couple weeks when the market dipped, whatever, you want to point fingers, this video is definitely not for you. It's going to be for my true fans and followers because I'm going to be tapping into some crazy stuff here. I think it's about that time. We probably should just, sell all of our cryptocurrency. Stocks are looking juicy. Let's get into some gold. Cryptocurrency is a scam, man. It's super volatile. There's so many issues, man. The environmental thing is crazy. All right, now that all the haters have left, they have left the scene, they have left this video, let's talk about, some true cryptocurrency stuff. But seriously, like Elon Musk's tweets are the best things I have ever seen in my life. I'm buying 6 Teslas. This guy is the greatest person to walk planet Earth. And honestly, it's kind of true. The cryptocurrency criticisms are crazy, man. Like it's destroying the environment. There's capsules, there's polar bears that are dying right now because of cryptocurrency. I don't think we should do this anymore. I think stocks are where it's at. Some of these stocks are popping off. So I think we're gonna get into some stock trading today. We'll be talking about some commodities. I might buy some oil. That looks great. I mean, let's jump into this Wall Street bet stuff. Let's definitely do. Okay, now that the haters are actually gone, I mean, hopefully they're still not here because it's supposed to be a conversation between me and you. Let's talk about top 3 altcoins that I will hold in any market. I'm never leaving cryptocurrency. Today, we're talking about the 3 that I don't care. I don't care what goes on. The market can go to 0. I'm diamond hands. I'm diamond handsing these coins to the death of me. Keep watching. What's going on, everybody? Alex back with another video, and today we're talking about 3 coins I would hold in any market no matter what. I don't care if cryptocurrency drops 80% like it did in 2017 bear market. I don't care if some of these coins end up breaking and, whatever the case is, it doesn't work anymore, whatever it is, the blockchain gets hacked. These coins to me are long-term holds. I believe in the project. I believe in the team. I believe in what they're doing. And in pressing times like this, it's really great to kind of ground yourself, look at the long-term perspective, and figure out why we are in this in the first place. If you're new to this channel, my name is Alex. Nice to meet you. Do us both a favor, hit that subscribe button as well as the push notification bell. I talk about cryptocurrency entrepreneurship. I keep it down to earth. Truth, honest, integrity is my policy. I do not accept sponsorships from anybody. If you like my content and you've been here before, guys, do me a favor, hit the like button. Let's get this to more people. More people need to get the truth. I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm just going to tell you what's the truth and going through my head. A wise man once said, if you ain't got no haters, you ain't popping, right? It's as simple as that. If you're going on YouTube to get your information and they're just consistently confirming your bias, that is a problem. And my smart people know that. I will tell you guys the truth, whether it hurts me, whether it hurts my reputation, whether it hurts you. I'm just going to tell you what I'm doing. So let's go over here to this chart. Let's first just recap, because we had a little video yesterday talking about, are we in a bull run, bear run, what's going on? And I just want to quickly give you a couple pointers why I think the bull run continue. Number 1, manipulation. For a fact, we have new players in the game. We have Elon Musk. We have a lot of institutional investors going crazy, and they're manipulating. Considering, if you look at this chart right here, look how steep this correction was. It was very quick. We're looking at the weekly chart here of the total excluding BTC. Let's look at the total because it gives us a better representation. As you can see, the total, this was a very quick down turn of the market, and then it's kind of like an immediate bounce back. So it's showing a little bit of signs of manipulation from some whales, maybe just dumping on us at the same time and then getting back in, whatever the case is. Also, remember, we have Elon Musk and a lot of other players messing with the market, doing what they want at will, pretty much. Also, I would say that we've had corrections like this in the past. If you look at Bitcoin's price, again, I have another video detailing pretty much everything on my thoughts and concerns. I'm fundamentally bullish. I think the market's going to continue for a lot of reasons, but mostly because it was just pure FUD manipulation, not real news. China bans and unbans cryptocurrency all the time. Iran just banned mining, but it looks like some of these cryptocurrencies are not all Bitcoin, right? There's renewable energies that could be utilized for proof of work, as well as some of them don't even need that much energy. Some of them are proof of stake, which we'll be talking about in this video, of course. Long story short, I don't think the reasons of the market going down, the FUD, were big enough. They weren't fundamental for me. Again, I did trade the dip, and if you guys have been watching my videos, I did sell, not the top, but the local top, and buy back at the bottom 2 different times, which increased my portfolio. And I do highly advise that you guys just don't hold everything to infinity and beyond because you don't know what you're doing. I do just recommend that maybe you diamond hands for now, but then learn what you're doing, right? Learn how to trade off of people's emotions while everybody's getting emotional. Remember, a lot of these people that you guys follow have different sources of income. They can afford to keep buying the dip. But if you want to create income out of cryptocurrency, there has to be a time you sell and then buy back in. This is what I do. This is what I did with my course. This is what I did with Fundamental Secrets. Don't be manipulated. Just because they're passionate doesn't mean they're in the same situation as you. They're making money other ways, guys. They're making money other ways. So just take everything they say with a grain of salt. And that's why I always try to impose people making their own decisions. But if we look at the market again, it just looks manipulated. Too steep of a downturn in too quick of a time. Immediate bounce back, manipulation, FUD. To me, the bull run's going to continue. And for this reason, I'm making this top altcoin video. All right, so first coin out of the top 3 coins I would hold no matter what. This is not financial advice. Ethereum. And I'm going to go over the reasons. Also, guys, I left all my notes in a link in the description below. I'm not going to ask for anything. I'm not going to ask for your email. Just go ahead and download it for yourself so you can piggyback this research with my research and you can add it to your own and make your own decisions. So Ethereum, why? Well, Ethereum is the second biggest cryptocurrency in the whole entire market cap. Now, this video was titled Top 3 Altcoins I will hold. Bitcoin is in that category. I would hold it no matter what. Through the bear run, I'm going to hold it to the next cycle or whatever the case is. If this is the end, it doesn't really matter to me. But Ethereum is considered an altcoin. So this is, again, the first coin I will hold, and it's for a couple of reasons. Let's first look at the price of Ethereum and what it did and why I still think that the market's definitely not over. As you can see here, when it launched, we went up 4,851%. And then we had a downturn about 72.52%. And it's kind of first little cycle thing there. Okay. From that bottom to the top, we have a 26, and this is where I actually got in right here. I got in at $7 to $10 after a year or so when it started getting really popular. Before Ethereum was like even a major coin at all. No, it was not on anybody's radar when they launched smart contract capabilities and when they partnered with JP Morgan and the Ethereum Alliance. This is around the range I got in, and we got this massive gain of 26,000%, 414%. It's ridiculous how big that percentage is. But I want you to notice something right here. We had 67% wiped off the table, and then it continued to all-time highs, which looks kind of similar. It looks kind of similar. But this one took a little bit longer. It took like 4 or 5 weeks. This one's 1 week. This is why I keep saying it's manipulation, guys. And then at the end of the cycle, we had a 94% downside of the market, bear market. And it is scary, but I held a lot of Ethereum through all of that. And it paid off because as you can see here, from around $82, I actually bought a whole bunch here as well. We rose about 5,254%. That's a big jump there, guys. And of course, we had this 60% down, market right here, which I don't think it's over. I think it's similar to the situation here. I think we have like one major leg up to the end of the bull run. Again, I will trade this and make money, and I will increase my portfolio so that when we move up, my portfolio is bigger. I don't know why people wouldn't do that. At the end of the day, I don't think the bull run's over. We're looking at the weekly right here for Ethereum USD. Now, the first reason why I think Ethereum is a long-term hold no matter what is because of their developers, guys. These people have the biggest developer ecosystem out of any other ecosystem in cryptocurrency, including Bitcoin. Okay, 300 new developers per month commit to Ethereum ecosystem. It's the biggest by far. It's 4 times bigger than any other ecosystem. And you guys can check the links for yourself. But Electronic Capital came out with this report. Now, this is a little bit old. Maybe things changed a little bit. But I will say, again, they're still the biggest by far. I genuinely think that. And they're going to continue to grow because their user base is by far the biggest. They already have smart contract capabilities. A lot of the projects you guys are talking about do not have this. Some of them that do, they have to take ecosystem. They have to take users away from Ethereum. It's like everybody's trying to leech off of Ethereum because of how dominant they are. You have to take this in consideration. Obviously, the fees are high. The transactions are slow. But at the end of the day, they still are the biggest. And this is a big reason why, personally, I think I should hold no matter what, because these guys are not going to go anywhere. As you can see here, the total unique users counted for 4.5 million and total active users 1.25 million. This is a little bit old. Let's look at it exactly. If we look at Bitcoin in comparison, you can see addresses with $100 or more in comparison to addresses with $100 or more on Bitcoin. And as you can see, Ethereum clearly is at the point where they're crossing. Now, we obviously had this down bull run, whatever you want to call it, this dip, whatever you want to call it. At the end of the day, literally soon, I would say, like when the market comes back and this bull run continues, we're going to see Ethereum pass it by far when it comes to this metric as well as this other metric where we're looking at active addresses. We are consistently battling with Bitcoin. Remember, Bitcoin's been out way longer, way longer. They had much more of an advantage to have active users. And as you can see, we have passed it and continuing to pass it. Let me just scroll in a little bit closer so you guys can see the details. Yeah, so we passed it. Active users, people are more active on Ethereum than Bitcoin. Now, another one, use case, okay? This is huge, okay? 2 use cases you guys should know of. DeFi and NFTs. Let's look at NFTs. $18 billion NFT market cap, and it's continuing to grow. This was a little bit bigger before, obviously. This little dip messed everything up. Now, the reason why this is so important is because NFTs have a major use case. They, besides art, it basically tokenizes any item on planet Earth, which obviously is pretty much unlimited. So if you want artificial truth on a blockchain and a physical item on Earth, NFTs are going to be that gateway. And right now, they are thriving on Ethereum. And to the case where some NFT artworks are being sold for millions of dollars. Large amounts of money are being transferred for this NFT artwork. So it's bringing in other ecosystems. This is a hair on fire problem in the real world that needs to be solved. And it's being captured by the Ethereum smart contract. It's being captured by ERC20 tokens primarily, not all of them, but primarily Ethereum is taking over that domain. I would say the bigger use case, which is probably the killer app for cryptocurrency, is decentralized finance or DeFi. $64 billion total value locked in DeFi. We have Maker, Aave, Compound. I would say 90% of all of this is ERC20 and Ethereum based. The reason why this is really important is because you can generate yield that supersedes anything in traditional finance. This is the killer app. People with a lot of money, institutional interests, are going to jump into DeFi. Financial assets are the killer application. Decentralized financial assets, giving the ability for anyone to get the same investment vehicles as big time players like accredited investors is huge, people. That is so big, that market right there alone. And think about it. Most of you are not in cryptocurrency to play games. There's other platforms. Go buy an Xbox, go buy a PS5, right? Most of you are in cryptocurrency because you want to make money. This gives people a vehicle to do that. This is why I keep saying DeFi is the killer app and it will continue to be dominant. And most of it is under, again, what? Ethereum. Pay attention, okay? Next thing's up. EIP 1559, okay, which is coming very soon. As you can see here, July 2021. It's coming very soon. It's coming very soon. You better pay attention. You better stack some ETH. I got some ETH for sure. I haven't sold a lot of it. But basically, long story short, if you want to look at the simple summary, a transaction pricing mechanism that includes fixed per block network fee that is burned and dynamically expands contract block sizes to deal with transit congestion. Basically, long story short, they have put this proposal and they're passing it in July of this year, where they are burning a small amount of Ethereum per transaction, as well as they're fixing the price mechanism so that when there's high congestion, it's not as expensive and it's a lot faster. Now, this is not Ethereum 2.0. This is not like, I don't know, Binance Smart Chain compatibility. It's still going to be like relatively expensive. It's not like solving every single detail of the transaction fees, but this is bullish for Ethereum, right? They are obviously addressing the massive problem as quick as they possibly can while they come out with Ethereum 2.0. I think they said in 2022. So long story short, they're doing what they can to solve the issues, and this is rolling out very soon, which again adds to the case where I don't think the bull run's over. I think there's a lot of developments happening, including, the EIP 1559, which is really infamous, guys. Which brings me to my last point, and I've talked about this before in other videos. You guys can watch those for more detailed explanations. But Ethereum 2.0, which moves it to shard chains, the beacon chain, the merge, proof of stake, right? We know that there's other blockchains that currently have proof of stake, which we're going to talk about in this video. But the fact that they're taking the biggest user base and developer base to this transfer of proof of stake, I do think they could pull it off, which is going to basically solve a lot of issues, which is more scalable, thousands of transactions per second, more secure, more sustainable, right? Obviously for the environment, right? They're solving all problems with one single swipe to Ethereum 2.0. This is the #1 coin for my top 3 hold in any market coins, okay? Let's move on to the next one, which is probably obvious, but we need to talk about it. Cardano ADA, which has been performing really well in this dip. I have a good bag of them and I probably would never get rid of it. I don't really care. Even if the dip happens, I'll buy more. Let's look at the price. So as you can see here from Cardano's launch, we have a 7,368% increase. Now this is scary. This is scary, but it's the truth. Okay. But I will say that in this last bear cycle here, they didn't have really any product. Now they have more products, but look, as you can see here, 98%, 98.6% decrease. I'm gonna be real with you guys. I didn't have too much Cardano last bull run, but and I did not hold that. That's scary. Okay, but what I did is I did accumulate around this price range here. But if I would have lost 98.6% of my money, wow, that's scary. And I do think this time though, it's not going to decrease by as much. And I do think we're going to break past all-time highs. But from that point, they did have a major comeback. We have 13,104% increase, as you guys can see right there. Now, this is pretty interesting because if you look at Ethereum's price, it was kind of similar. The first time we had this big spike, right? Massive decrease, and then a bigger spike. That was a bigger spike the second time, which looks the same for ADA. That's why I say it's going to break all-time high and continue higher. But again, they did show resilience in this recent dip, massive resilience. They did show that they can be a competitor, and they have a lot of projects coming out, which we're going to be talking about in this video. Reason why I like Cardano so much is because they have working proof of stake and they are decentralized. Let's look at proof of stake versus proof of work. If you guys don't know what this is, these are basically classified as consensus mechanisms. What this means is that the whole entire blockchain actually comes to consensus and they agree upon the next block, right? So let's read this. Proof of stake answers the performance and energy use challenges of proof of work and arrives at a more sustainable solution. Instead of relying on miners to solve computationally complex equations to create new blocks and rewarding the first to do so, proof of stake selects participants in a case of Cardano stake pools to create new blocks based on stake they control in a new network. This enables networks to scale horizontally, increasing performance by incorporating additional nodes rather than vertically through the addition of more powerful hardware. Yeah, so they have, proof of stake, which we know is something that's obviously useful because Ethereum is going to be using it, but it's actually working right now, right? So that's the first thing. They already have working proof of stake, as we all know. Okay. Second thing is they're actually more decentralized than Ethereum. Let's kind of look at this visual representation right here of the decentralization. Let's look at it. All right, we're not going to look at this whole 5-minute thing, but this is kind of showing the progress of their decentralization. They're claiming that they're 100% decentralized, which is really interesting because I do think they are in comparison to Ethereum. There's a lot of Ethereum miners. Right now, it's proof of work. We'll see how they handle it when proof of stake comes out. But as you can see right here, again, showing a visual representation of how decentralized they are. Let's kind of fast forward it over here. You can see they're getting even more decentralized, right? With Ouroboros. Yeah, decentralized. Cardano, they are more decentralized than Ethereum. So that is one of the biggest reasons why I'm bullish on Cardano long term. Another one is obvious ERC20 compatibility, as you can see here, to expand the variety of use cases for application developers and businesses. Cardano will support ERC20 token migration to its platform. The Alonzo hard fork and Plutus smart contracts are on the way. Once deployed, users of supported Ethereum tokens will be able to bring them over from Ethereum's congested network to take advantage of Cardano's transaction capacity and lower fees while enjoying enhanced security, reduced costs, and interoperability. So that's really interesting because we can see the use case of Binance Smart Chain. They pretty much did the same thing. So given the fact that they are allowing ERC20 based tokens to be transferred easily to Cardano to take advantage of its transaction speed and transaction cost is really big. And I think it's one of the biggest strategic reasons why long term they might even be a big competitor for Ethereum. It's definitely a possibility that Cardano passes Ethereum. That's definitely true. But right now they do not have smart contract capability. Ethereum does. So I'm staying more on the Ethereum side for now. But that can change on a dime, right? I'm not emotional in my investments. I can change. No ifs, ands, or buts. Another reason why I'll hold this forever is this guy right here. He is the man. Charles Hoskinson is a true genius. He was part of the original Ethereum founding team, and he is a boss. Let's watch this new recent Yahoo Finance interview together so we can kind of like just take apart his argument or whatever the case is. Let me just kind of put these headphones on. Give me a second.
Thanks so much for your time today.
Yeah.
You've made some headlines lately, partly on the back of Elon Musk's tweet. So let's sort of talk about this ride that we've seen, the volatility we've seen in cryptocurrencies. Elon Musk, of course, wiping out about $300 billion in the crypto market value in just hours when he came out and said that Tesla was pivoting away from Bitcoin because of environmental concerns. You then tweeted out, are we finally going to be having this Cardano discussion? You saw a surge in your token as well. Walk me through your claim here, your outreach to Elon, and if you've heard from him.
No, I haven't heard from Elon, but that's to be expected. I mean, in general, this is an old dispute that we've had in the cryptocurrency space. It's been going on since 2011, the whole proof of stake versus proof of work dispute, and it revolves around engine efficiency. So basically, all cryptocurrencies, they have a consensus algorithm, and that's what runs them, and that's what allows you to process smart contracts and transactions. And engines, some of them are very low power, and some of them are very high power. And so the kinds of engines we build with our company and many other people in the space, the third generation cryptocurrencies, are very efficient. You can run a global scale system that has equivalent or better throughput to Bitcoin or Dogecoin for gigawatts of power, if not less. And then Bitcoin is the kind of system that uses terawatts of power, many, many terawatts, to the point where it uses more energy than nation states. And so it was always curious to me why a company that professes to be very ecologically friendly, renewable vehicles, alternative energy, batteries, would embrace the least ecologically friendly of all cryptocurrencies, especially when there's
That
really
is
no
interesting.
security reason for doing so. And so we tried to say, hey, there's more to the story, and we're happy to have a dialogue and discussion. And there's a lot of great products in market that could potentially be a better fit for Tesla's goals.
To your point, the sustainability question, environmental costs around Bitcoin mining has been a concern for some time. How do you view the risk when you look at the broader market right now? The issue of sustainability and the potential for these costs to continue to rise as more and more people get into the space.
Yeah, I look at it like technology. Back in the 19th century with the Industrial Revolution, they had originally wood powering steam engines, and they were clear cutting all the forests of Europe. So if that trend continued, it would have been an ecological disaster. But then they found better fuel sources like coal and oil and so forth, and they were able to mitigate that. And so similarly, innovation gets you out of these situations. The goal of Bitcoin was really saying, hey, we want a decentralized settlement system and we can teleport this digital gold anywhere in the world instantly. And that was revolutionary for 2009. Remember, now we're in a different place. We have millions of people floating around, thousands of academic papers, millions of lines of code, and an enormous amount of technological investment. And
Mhm.
we've just simply moved on. We've innovated to a point where you don't need to clear cut those forests anymore. And unfortunately, the people in the Bitcoin space, some of them feel that there's only one truth: the wood-powered steam engine. But what's nice is that there's a
That is so that's so such facts, man. You guys need to pay attention to this guy. He's very smart.
big pivot. If you look at Bitcoin dominance, I think it's around 47, 46%. So altcoins at this point are worth more collectively than Bitcoin is.
We've been talking
And
about
there's
that for a
a lot
while.
of institutional money that's leaving proof of work coins and it's going into greener alternatives, not just because they're more energy efficient, but because a lot of them do more. They support
Yeah.
contracts, they have identity, they have metadata. And these are the bread and butter if you actually want to do real financial applications that are regulated and actually global.
Yeah, and Charles, when it comes to how Cardano fits into that mix, right? We've talked a lot about it being an Ethereum killer, so-called Ethereum killer, for a while. When we talk about the technology that it offers, I know you also chatted with Mark Cuban about potentially being the platform that he could look to. I mean, what is it that sets Cardano apart that you've been stressing to some bigger names like him?
Yeah, well, it's interesting about Mark Cuban in particular.
It's funny because Mark Cuban just invested in Polygon, so he picked his side. He's Mark Cuban's with Ethereum. That's interesting. Interesting. Just thought I'd point that out there.
We both didn't know that we were already talking to each other. So he has this NFT marketplace that he's been building, and our people were talking to his people about an MOU for integration. And I had no idea that they were talking. He had no idea. So after we had a Twitter spat going back and forth about Cardano, he actually got personally involved in those negotiations. But I think we came to terms on something. But in general, everybody's just trying to understand this. I mean, you have waves of adoption, and I've been in the space a really long time and kind of a weird guy, which is why I have the samurai armor and so forth. But now mainstream real people are coming into the space and they're trying to figure out, well, what can I do with this? So
Mhm.
how do I do lending? How do I do insurance? How do I do payments? And why are these things better than the conventional legacy systems? And usually it breaks down saying you have fast finality, you have global settlement, you have significantly lower cost structures. It's easier to scale things down. So for example, micro IPOs, so you can IPO small scale firms, not just 100 million, $200 million deals and so forth. And the reason we built Cardano was that we wanted to build a collection of protocols that could do all of these things specifically for the developing world, because we saw Africa growing at 10, 15% per year and Southeast Asia growing at similar paces, and do that for some of the poorest people around. who over the next 30 to 50 years will build up wealth, and they could be in a completely alternative system that has built into it everything. It has governance built in, it has compliance
Yeah.
built in, and so forth. And these are the kinds of conversations we have. And we've seen not only us tremendous growth, but we've seen the industry as a whole have tremendous growth. And actually government adoption is pretty remarkable.
In the short term, though, I mean, when you point to projects being built on Cardano now, or those, I think the protocol, as you laid out, kind of a February timeline for smart contracts to be built on. I mean, what's the update there in terms of building on top of Cardano relative to some of these other projects out there too that also claim to be Ethereum killers?
Well, first off, it's important to understand Ethereum is killing itself. They're replacing Ethereum with Ethereum 2. So Ethereum 2 will kill Ethereum 1. So I think that's the Ethereum killer. We try to do more holistic things. It's not just, can you process smart contracts? It's also, can you do that with identity and compliance? Can you do that with metadata? Can you do that with automated regulation? These types of things. There's a lot of missing pieces. And can you do that at a scale for billions of people? And can you do that with some notion of governance that doesn't require a custodial entity to always be around and take care of it? We're used to custodial entities. You have Microsoft, the Windows, you have Apple to the iPhone and so forth. And you always say, okay, they're the guys who are going to get the next version out. But when you strip away that centralized curator, who's going to make it quantum resistant? Who's going to do the next big innovation? Who's going to make sure it's interoperable with some big legacy payment system or the BIS or something for CBDCs and so forth? So Cardano was really built to be holistic in that respect. For smart contracts, we're almost through that entire rollout. We started in December with metadata, and that allowed us to bring identity to the blockchain. We've already started deploying those systems in Georgia, the country of Georgia, and in Ethiopia for 5 million students. The next major milestone was ability to issue assets on the platform. We're seeing the largest adoption there with NFTs, and there's a lot of NFT platforms coming in. And the final rollout will be programmability. So that's smart contracts, and that's imminent in the platform. So the next 90 days, we should see a lot of beta testing. And then it's just a question of what's the best time to do that for all the people who use it. Because these are big ecosystems now. There's over 100 exchanges that have listed and lots of wallets and so forth. So you can't really move unilaterally. You have to kind of move as a giant swarm of people. And it takes some time to do that.
Charles, you recently posted a clip that was sort of directed at.
You guys should definitely rewind it and watch that again, and listen to what he said, because he dropped some gems. Those are those are big gems.
Elon Musk on how you see how.
And then they're bringing it back to Elon Musk, typical news reporter.
Dogecoin can be fixed, essentially improving its transaction speed so it can make it more like Bitcoin. I know I'm oversimplifying that, but what do you see as the future use of Doge?
It has no use or utility right now. And that's my great umbrage with this whole affair. I mean, it's one thing to pick winners and losers. There's plenty of great coins out there, like the ICPs and Polkadots and Algorands and Cardanos, and we all believe our own ship. So obviously, I think Cardano is the best, right? I created it, but it's reasonable. People can disagree. The issue with Dogecoin is it's a copy of a copy. So it's a copy of Litecoin, which is in turn a copy of Bitcoin, and there's really no innovation there. So it's as if you just stopped protocol development in 2011, 2012, and now you have this very prominent person who's a real engineer with one of the wealthiest people in the world. With
maybe he says this. I haven't watched this interview completely yet, but I would say that I don't agree on one point, is the fact that what Dogecoin has, and it's true, is adoption. It's the meme. People adopt memes, right? Everything else he's right. And he's definitely way smarter than me. But I'm just saying, Dogecoin helps people adopt cryptocurrency in general, I think. Maybe the retail side, right? Not institutional side. It obviously has no use case in any way, shape, or form. But people respond to memes. They respond to memes, and it's clear. And maybe that's what Elon's doing. I don't know. I don't know any of these. I'm not in the head of any of these people. I'm just saying, Dogecoin is clearly getting a lot of people that previously was not in cryptocurrency. Now they are in cryptocurrency because of Dogecoin. So I think that's a small, very minute use case of Dogecoin. And just to be clear with you guys, I own a very small amount of Dogecoin. All right, let's continue.
Giant engineering companies coming in and advocating that retail investors en masse come in and buy this token that has unlimited inflation and has no real use, utility, or consumption, and no proper custodianship. There's really not a strong development team there, and there's no real roadmap there. And if he wants to come in and rewrite the whole thing, what I was trying to prove in that video was this is not a simple matter. It's a major overhaul. It's like those old shows where you refurbish a tractor or or a car or something, and they take you through the whole process and sandblast it and have to repaint. Well, that's what they'd have to do for Dogecoin. And I outlined 11 different papers and techniques that they would have to bring in to make it just comparable with what the third generation cryptocurrencies are bringing this year and next year. And not even innovating, just bring it up to speed with what Ethereum 2 is promising and Cardano's promising and so forth. So saying, why are you actually doing this? Are you really committed for this? And do you understand that when the song stops, all these retail investors are going to be left holding the ball and the price is going to collapse? The other danger is 90+% of the distribution of Doge is in less than 1% of the wallets. So there's a very high concentration of wealth in the hands of very few. And they had that wealth when Doge was very cheap. So they can sell at $1, they can sell at 50 cents, they can sell at 10 cents and so forth, and still make windfall profits. A lot of these retail investors are buying at a very high price point, like above 50% or so forth. So that's a very unhealthy mechanic, because at any time, a small group of people can crash the entire market and cause catastrophic cascading
That's
harm.
why I never bought it.
It just makes no sense why he would advocate such a thing.
For me to buy it.
Just to return to your point on the ETH killer kind of clarification there, it is interesting because as they shift to proof of stake, I mean, you could make the argument that it could be a Cardano killer. That was the sustainability, and that aspect of it was kind of how you guys differentiated. And obviously, if it takes longer for smart contracts, I suppose, to come out, if you say the next 90 days.
I don't look at it that way. I mean, we were always with the mantra of scalability, interoperability, and sustainability. And so, yeah, sure, proof of stake is great. And we're leading that fight. We were first to market with proof of stake over Ethereum. They're still having trouble, but that's only one part of the agenda. That's just saying we have a better engine. Engine doesn't make a BMW a BMW. It's a part of it, but you need the whole ecosystem. You need the whole collection of things. And one of the big things that ETH2 has bowed out on is governance. It's not clear how do you evolve and update the system after the founders retire or lose prominence. And the bigger these systems get, the slower they evolve. Look at Bitcoin. You have these Bitcoin core developers who desperately want to evolve the system and add smart contracts and side chains and new cryptographic primitives like SNOR6. They just can't get it done. Even though they all agree it's a good idea and they need to do it for the marketplace to stay competitive, it's just such a big boat. It's like a cruise ship. You move the whole
That's crazy. That's a crazy point. Definitely. This is a great interview, guys.
wheel. It doesn't move for a long time. And so Ethereum is suffering from that problem, and they don't have an obvious on-chain governance system. And that's not in the roadmap for ETH2, whereas it's a core part of our roadmap. The second part is interoperability. So protocols like Cosmos and Polkadot and Cardano, others, we make special provisions for sidechains. Ethereum really doesn't do this as well in its current instantiation and in a cost-effective way. ETH2, they kind of have an idea with it, but it's still not clear how that model is going to work, especially when you have interplay with permission and permissionless systems. So they're very different, actually, when you look under the hood. And even if they were the same, there's different user bases. We're bringing millions of people in Africa, and that simply Ethereum doesn't seem to care about because we never run into their guys or Consensus or other people outside of South Africa and a few well-developed places in Africa. So we have different technologies, we have different philosophies, we have different user bases and different time horizons and so forth. And also very different accounting models. UTXO is a significantly more scalable model because it's got local state instead of global state compared to what Ethereum is proposing. And that's another reason they're having so much difficulty sharding themselves, whereas it's built in by design for our system. So I think we'll be a leader for micropayments. We'll be a leader from when we actually have to shard, and we can scale at much higher levels, but we also have governance and they just simply don't. So I feel better about that. But again, everybody is free to disagree, and that's what makes it fun, right?
Charles Hoskinson, we can go on this for another hour, but we're
so very interesting interview. He brought up a lot of points there that we should definitely all take in consideration with our investments, of course. And yeah, true genius, man. Knows what he's doing. It's one of the biggest reasons why I'll hold 88 through the thick and thin. Hopefully, we don't get that correction that we got last cycle, that 90 something. Oh, 98. Wow, that is scary, man. But again, they really turned it around. They have working products now, so it's probably not going to be as serious. They're obviously adopting NFTs as well. Could they be Ethereum killer? Well, there's a good chance, and that's why I'll hold it through thick and thin forever, guys. Which brings me to my last point of Cardano, which he kind of said it in the video. Let me just kind of pull it up here. This guy is a blue ocean strategist. He's going to places and getting adoption from Africa, which was a big power move of I think their best power move they've ever done. The first fruit of our labors is the deal with Ethiopia's Ministry of Education. This will involve 5 million students using the Atala Prism technology integrated with Cardano blockchain. every one of these students will have a digital identity or a DID. That DID carries with it information, metadata that would travel with them throughout their academic life and follow them into the economic world. When these millions of students graduate, as they will go into the economy, eventually this infrastructure can be used for buying property, for payments, and for voting and all other matters of their economic life. So this was a big time power move. They're getting adoption in Africa. They're taking advantage over there. I haven't really seen that for, I mean, we have world global adoption for Ethereum, but the fact that it's a blue ocean strategy. They're not really competing. They're trying to essentially get adoption of specific areas, grow. And that's really the only way you can beat big time ecosystems with large, I guess you can say, network effects like Ethereum. That's really the only way you could beat that. So that Cardano, the second cryptocurrency I'll hold thick and thin through any market. Hopefully it doesn't dump on us 98%. Let's move into the last coin, which should be obvious. Polkadot. Polkadot recently is like one of the newer coins out of these three. And we had a lot of drop, guys. Look, down 33%, 33.3%. Also been one of the better gainers in this bull run. And I think it's going to continue to grow. They have a different approach to interoperability and scalability. They have a different code base. They use Substrate. They use Substrate for coding on their platform. And they have a lot of unique features that I think can compete with ADA and Ethereum. And I do think they're going to be long-term sustainable. They might even integrate with a lot of them, but let me just show you guys the price. Again, like I said, it's recent. We haven't really been through a bear market. So this is the risky of the three. This is the riskiest one of the three. But as you can see here from the bottom, and I don't take this in consideration as the bottom because this is just a launch on an exchange, but you can see the price increased by 1,291%. And we have a decrease of 72% in this recent dip. So if you guys have been looking at the math of all three of these coins, you can see that this is the biggest potential by far. Polkadot will probably increase by the most percentages. Doesn't mean it will beat them. But if we continue on further in the bull run, we will probably get the most money out of Polkadot considering it's smaller and newer. Okay. Now, if we look at Polkadot, there's a couple of features, a couple of things. You guys can look at the sheet for yourself. If you haven't already downloaded the sheet, go to the link in the description below. True operability. Polkadot enables cross-chain blockchain transfers of any data type or asset, not just tokens. That's a clear word right there, not just tokens. What we're seeing now are like kind of pegged tokens. They're like it's not real Ethereum. It's like Ethereum proof of stake version. Like if you look at Matic Network, it's like they give you like the proof of stake version and the plasma version. So it's not like the real Ethereum. Connecting to Polkadot gives you the ability to interoperate with a wide variety of blockchains in the Polkadot network. So how do they do that? They do that by bridging assets. Now, I'm not going to go too deep into this. You guys should definitely do your own research. That's why I'm providing you guys with the links. But the bridging methods they could be using for multiple things. They could bridge pallets for substrate native chains. Use a bridge pallet, example, Kusama. This is the biggest reason, guys, I think, they have like true interoperability since both networks, parachains use substrate. So if any code base of any blockchain use substrate, they can use that. If they don't use substrate like Ethereum, they can use smart contracts, kind of similar to other bridging methods. And if it doesn't, if your actual protocol does not support smart contracts in general, they can use higher order protocols, for example, like Bitcoin and stuff like that. So they have true interoperability, which is different from any other blockchain from my understanding. Also, Dr. Gavin Wood is a big reason why I would hold this through thick and thin. I don't care what market we're in. I'm holding some Polkadot. This guy right here was the originator of proof of authority, consensus, and Whisper, and even bigger, he actually created Solidity. He created the language Solidity, which is being used on Ethereum right now. One of the early founders of Ethereum, one of the early developers in Ethereum. And this guy, he's attacking the big problem of a decentralized database that's scalable, fast, and cheap. He's attacking it from a different angle. That's all it is. You guys are attacking it from a different angle. They're coming from Ethereum, early adopters of Ethereum, early developers in Ethereum, and they think they have a solution. And that's pretty much what's going on right here. And this guy is also a crazy mad scientist genius, right? For sure. I don't have a video for you, but it's really interesting. Another unique characteristic of Polkadot that I think is crazy that no other blockchain has, or there's a couple of blockchains I'm talking about for the three here. Polkadot has Kusama, which is basically a replica of Polkadot, but it has different benefits, right? It's kind of like the first mover. They're like really quick. They're going to break things, right? As you can see here, low barriers of entry for parachain deployment, low bond requirements for validators, low slashing penalties, fast integration, latest technology. Use cases, early startup network, experimentation on new ideas, applications that don't yet require bank-like security and robustness, pre-production environment for Polkadot. So the point here is Kusama is like the faster blockchain. And it's kind of like they have an extra life. So like if something happens to Kusama, they have Polkadot to fall back on, high scalability, high security, right? It upgrades a little bit slower. But it's really interesting that they have literally an extra life. They can literally break Kusama and it will not ruin Polkadot completely. It will probably drop the price, but they still have a second life of Polkadot. And it's really interesting because one of my coaches says it all the time. He's like, look, what happens on Kusama is like seeing into the future for Polkadot, because everything that happens on Kusama you can see with Polkadot, which Cardano clearly doesn't have this. Ethereum is the first of the kind. They don't have it either. So I think it's really interesting to have this extra chance, second life at making this happen. And I think that's really interesting. One of the biggest reasons why I like Polkadot. Another big reason, which I think is really interesting, is that it's forkless, right? They don't have to fork the blockchain to upgrade it. By using WASM and Substrate, the framework powering Polkadot, Kusama, and many connecting chains, the chains are given the ability to upgrade their runtime logic without hard forking, which is a huge issue in cryptocurrency. You got to like do this whole entire event just to upgrade. It's absolutely ridiculous. Hard forking is a standard method of upgrading a blockchain that is slow, inefficient, and error prone due to the levels of offline coordination required, and thus the propensity to bundle many upgrades into one large scale event. By deploying WASM on chain and having nodes auto enact the new logic at a current block height, upgrades can be small, isolated, and very specific. So it gives them more adaptability. It helps them basically scale faster, in my personal opinion, and just fix things as quick as they possibly can with this functionality. All things included, they're using parachains as a different type of technology. They're attacking it a little bit different. They have Substrate as the language of choice, which is, and a lot of people claim, a lot better than anything else anybody's using. So again, all things included, these are the 3 coins that I will hold through any market. I highly recommend, like in every single one of my videos, you guys do your own research. But even with the selling that I was doing recently, right? These coins I held. I didn't sell my whole portfolio. I sold only 50% of my portfolio, 60% in one case. I sold 40 to 60% of my portfolio in these recent buys and sells. I was able to increase my cryptocurrency holdings with these buys and sales, but these coins right here were held the whole entire time. So again, if you don't want to buy and sell, if you want to be a long-term investor, take this video into consideration, but obviously it's not financial advice. If you like the quality of this content, hit like. If you don't, leave some constructive criticism, subscribe for more video updates. And like I always say, if you don't get with it, you will get left behind. By the way, guys, follow me on Twitter. I'm doing some great things. We're about to do a massive giveaway. I'm giving away some laptop for the community that have, basically supported me this whole entire time. And this recent dip really showed who my real community is. And I appreciate you guys for being there for me. Thank you for watching my videos. And again, guys, if you don't get with this technology, you will get left behind. Catch you guys in the next video. Alex here, quick update, quick announcement. Guys, I have a new community number. So I got a second phone. You could directly text me. I'm answering all questions. My new phone number is 954-758-5473. Again, that's 954-758-5473. I'm answering all comments. Go ahead and text me now. Let's have a conversation.